entertaining talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Before I jump into the contest between the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, I just want to say once again, thank you to all you guys that came into the stream, that blew up the stream. I absolutely love talking New York Giants with all you guys. That's why I stayed on about an hour and a half after the fact, fielded some of your questions and talked about the outcome of the game and some of the things that we need to improve on, some of the things that were good and some of the things that were bad. I'm going to jump into it all of it in this video. And yes, there was a lot of bad. The New York Giants lost once again to the Dallas Cowboys as we go to 0-5 in a game in which we definitely could have won. The New York Giants, I think, got out to a 14-3 lead, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously we had a costly turnover there. We'll jump into that. And this was a game, going in that I thought the biggest key for both the offense and the defense was the red zone. The New York Giants in recent weeks have really struggled in the red zone, and they settled for too many field goals today. Graham Gano, to his credit, and I got to say that guy was unbelievable today, and he deserves credit. Kickers deserve glove too, guys. He was 4-4, made a 55-yarder as he continues to be one of the bright spots for the New York Giants. Very familiar, seems very familiar to what Aldrick Rosas was a few years ago when he went to the Pro Bowl. So far, Gano's done a great job, and that continued today, where he had a really good game, but that's also a negative as the New York Giants settled for too many field goals. And to the contrary, the Dallas Cowboys were able to get into the red zone too often when they got down to the red zone. The New York Giants scored 2 touchdowns. The Dallas Cowboys scored 3. And there's definitely a lot of excuses that you can make throughout the course of this football team. And the New York Giants, of course, had a defensive touchdown as well, which we'll get into. And the referees weren't good, and we'll start there. There were definitely some questionable plays. Now, when I went back and looked at the illegal motion penalty on Cam Fleming, to me, that looked like a justified call. Was it maybe a little ticky-tacky? Sure. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to use that as an excuse to why we lost the football game. The pick play was certainly very questionable, and you see that every day in the NFL, and there was a lot more calls that you could have saw going the other way, and that obviously took a touchdown off the board when the New York Giants hit Darius Slayton in the corner of the end zone. It is what it is. I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but it certainly doesn't help when you have a team as poor as the New York Giants. When we have opportunities to win football games and we get calls like that taken back, it made it even harder for the New York Giants to win this contest. And, of course, you could talk about the missed holding call on that last drive. There definitely was one. But the Cowboys beat us fair and square. And the other thing I want to say to Cowboys fans is, obviously, I hope that Dak Prescott gets better as quickly as possible. Obviously, that was a really tough injury to see. And, yeah, nobody ever roots for that. And hopefully he gets healthy as quickly as possible. The one thing I really wanted to talk about, the New York Giants continue to do very well in the time of possession department. And that's something that they have been horrible with over the course of the last 3, 4, 5 years. The New York Giants actually won that again, this time by 5 minutes. Last week, they won the time possession by 9 minutes in the second half. And the biggest factor and reason for that is, one, we're starting to get the ground game established. And if you look at the stat sheet, it doesn't really show. I think we rushed for 89 yards on 27 carries. But the offense, again, was very balanced. There wasn't a lot of negative running plays. Devontae Freeman ran really hard. He had one run that was really good when he had to get down low. I think it was like a 4th and 1. He was able to push forward. The offensive line did a good job at the beginning of the game in the run blocking department. I saw them getting a sizable push, and then maybe the Dallas defense adjusted. They kind of forced the New York Giants to have to throw a bit more, and they came out with a pretty balanced approach. As a matter of fact, both teams did. The New York Giants ran 60 offensive plays. They threw 33 passes. They ran 27 times. The Dallas Cowboys ran 62 offensive plays. They threw the ball 33 times. They ran 29 times. So it was pretty balanced. In terms of the defense, there's not a whole lot to say that was good. The New York Giants, what was really discouraging for me in this game is you had a Dallas Cowboys offense that was really banged up on the offensive line, and I thought we'd be thrown on. No doubt about it. We actually did decent there. 276 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and the lone touchdown was actually that end-around play where the wide receiver threw it in the end zone to Dak Prescott before he got injured. But they did decent there, considering the weapons for the Dallas Cowboys. I know CeeDee Lamb went for over 100. So did Darius Slayton. Wanted to make note of that. Had a really good game for the New York Giants. But the running defense was really bad. 29 carries, 126 yards. But it was all 5, 6 yard carries, time and time again. I don't think the Cowboys had a run for maybe more than 8 or 9 yards throughout the entirety of that game that I can remember off the top of my head. But it was just constant 3, 4 yard gains, 5 yard gains, 6 yard gains. And they really were able to move the ball on the ground. It was when the Cowboys started to do that you really saw their offense start to click. And I always have said that I think that is when the Cowboys are at their best. And obviously they have a very good offense. So I knew that the New York Giants defense was going to struggle in this game and was going to be up to the offense to try to win it for us. And to the offense's credit, we put up 34 points, albeit one came from that Kyler Fackrell interception that he ran back for a touchdown, which was huge. And when they did that, I started to think, wow, maybe the New York Giants do have a really good opportunity to win this game when we got up to the 14-3 start. But then the fumble was just, it just changed everything. And you could point to a lot of people for that. A lot of people are going to automatically say Daniel Jones because he has a reputation for fumbling the football. But on that play in particular, Andrew Thomas got beat like a drum. And I really want to give Andrew Thomas his fair of an evaluation and give him a real opportunity. He's only his 5th year in the league. I'm not going to go crazy for a rookie that is playing next to players that have never played in this scheme either, a new offense, and it's only his 5th game in the league. I think we have to give him a lot more time before we start to come down on him. But in this game, Andrew Thomas did not play well, and it wasn't just on that play. Of course, he caught the 2-point conversion. That was cool. But it wasn't just on that play. He was beat throughout this game. There was another play, I can't remember who it was, but somebody beat him off the edge again easily. I think 2 plays in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Jones actually did a good job where he stepped up in the pocket on that play and bought time. But on the fumble, Jones literally had like a second and a half. And it was his blindside protection that gave up the sack to Lawrence. Yeah, he's got a hold on the ball with 2 hands, but I don't know how Daniel Jones could possibly sense that pressure. He can't anticipate that Andrew Thomas is going to get beat that quickly off the edge. It was almost like he had a free pass, and that was really bad. That was a horrible job there by Andrew Thomas, and that kind of set the tone for the game. It got Dallas back into the contest, and then they started the ground and pound. And it always seems like we have momentum-shifting plays like that cost us these football games. And it's unfortunate because outside of that, Jones played pretty well. I'm not going to say he played great. He had a couple of throws that could have easily been intercepted. There was one in particular where it went right through the defender's hands, but he was under constant pressure. The pass blocking in this game was not good. He was under constant pressure throughout. The play calling today, for a lot of people that wanted to bash Jason Garrett, I don't know how you could leave this game feeling that Jason Garrett didn't call a good game. And I thought that they would open up the offense, and you saw him do it. They took a few more shots down the field. Jones missed a pass to Slayton down the right sideline. They had a flea flicker thrown in there. Slayton made a couple of really nice catches down the sideline where he was able to get his toes in bounds. They ran a couple of end rounds to Evan Ingram, one of which resulted in a touchdown. The other was like a 7 or 8 yard run. They definitely got creative in this football game, along with the fake field goal, which was a brilliant play call by Joe Judge. It just so happens that Fleming moved, and that took that away. If that does not happen, the New York Giants probably win the football game. I thought Joe Judge and Jason Garrett did a pretty good job. If I'm going to be critical of Judge, I thought that they wasted one timeout. I think it was in the late third quarter where they called a defensive timeout where the Cowboys were moving the ball, and they could have used those timeouts late in the game. So I think his timeout usage continues to be a little, he's got to work on that a little bit. I've noticed that the last couple of games, but overall, I thought Judge and Jason Garrett did a really good job throughout this football game. To me, Daniel Jones had an opportunity at the end, and really, I would have signed up for that in a second. A tie ball game with 2 minutes to go, to have an opportunity to go down the field, kick a game-winning field goal, and get out of Dallas with a win. And he picked up, I think, 1 first down on that drive, and then it stalled out. And where I'm going to get on Daniel Jones, a lot of people are going to get on him for the fumbling. A lot of people are going to get on him for, 1 or 2 passes that could have been picked off. And I think those are fair and justified because he didn't look off his receiver on 1 or 2 of those plays. I do think he made a number of other good plays. But where I'm going to get on Daniel Jones in this game was on that last drive, not even not scoring. Because I get it. He didn't have a lot of help. Dallas making plays. His clock management on that drive was horrible. New York Giants had about a minute left in the game. You're near midfield. I think they were at like the 45, 40, 45, whatever it was. You have more than enough time. You still have one timeout. You got to go about 20 yards, 15 yards. You're indoors. Gano probably could have made a kick from 55 like he did earlier in the game. There was no need to rush. You had the clock running. It was at a minute, and the Cowboys still had 3 timeouts left. In that situation, Daniel Jones has to let that clock tick down. You can't snap the ball with 20 seconds on the play clock. You got to let that clock tick down to 0 seconds, or at least force the Dallas Cowboys to use a timeout. So I thought that was a horrible job by Daniel Jones, if I'm being honest. So if I'm going to be critical about him in one aspect in this game, it was that. The clock management down the stretch on that last drive was really bad. He definitely made some really good throws, and he needs to get better. And this offense improved this week, and hopefully Jones gets better next week. But again, he didn't get the ball in the end zone. I'm not going to say he had a great game. He certainly didn't. The fumble was very costly. I'm going to put that more on Thomas, though. But the clock management was really bad. And he had another opportunity to go down there, win the football game against a poor defense, and he couldn't do it. So I can't say he had a great game. I can't say he had a good... I'm not going to say he had a horrible game, but he didn't win us the game. Let's put it that way. And that's what I continue to say week in and week out. Against the Rams, he didn't lose us the game, but he didn't win us the game. And if he wants to keep his job, he's going to need a few games where he wins us the game down the stretch here over these last 11 games, and hopefully he does. But I thought the clock management there, if I'm being fair, was poor. The play calling overall by Jason Garrett, though, I thought was the biggest pro that I took out of this game. You definitely saw more aggressive offense. You definitely saw more innovative offense, albeit against a very poor defense. And next week, we'll get a better test to see where this New York Giants offense actually is. But you've definitely seen a concerted effort over the last 2 weeks of the New York Giants trying to have more of a balanced attack, of them getting some semblance of a push-up front in the run game, as they've been able to, they ran for, I think, 130 yards or 140 yards last week, 90 yards or so this week, but they're starting to get some kind of push-up front in the run game, and that is impressive. I mean, not impressive, but it's something that they've been improving on, which makes the offense more unpredictable and opens up big play opportunities, which you saw them try to cash in on today. There's obviously some pros, and there's obviously a lot of cons, and they're the cons that I talked about. Daniel Jones definitely has a lot of pressure right now, and he's definitely going to be looking over his back over these last 11 games. You have an opportunity to select the greatest quarterback, according to pro scouts, since Andrew Luck. And if we're picking one, there's a good chance we will, and he's got to know that. I mean, for everybody that's talking about bringing in Colt McCoy because, he's got to feel pressure. You don't think he has enough pressure with Trevor Lawrence breathing down his neck? So Jones knows what's at stake right now. He knows he needs to improve. The offense looked better this week. It was against the worst defense, though. So take it for what you will. We got to hope that we're able to bounce back and get a win against the Washington football team, and hopefully the offense looks pretty good doing it. But I've been encouraged by some things. The defense, I thought, was a letdown today. But I knew we were going to struggle, but it was the way in which we did. I didn't think we'd get muscled the way we did in the ground game, at least early on. Like, there were no excuses this week that the defense could have worn down over the course of the game and gotten beaten in the run game that way. The New York Giants won the time of possession by 5 minutes. They had a 10-minute advantage at one point in the game. So the defense definitely wasn't worn down. They just got beat at the point of attack by a very banged-up Giant Cowboys offensive line. They couldn't get the job done when they were trying to stuff the run. But we'll see what happens next week, guys. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube, and I hope it gets better. Trust me, I'd much rather be calling a team that's winning football games, but I'm going to continue to support this team through thick and thin because I love the New York Giants. And I truly believe there will be better days ahead. When it'll be, that I can't tell you. But as always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.